So guys, this week and the next coming weeks before the launch of the final shape are probably going to be the most important weeks in Destiny 2's history. If you missed the events of last week, I'll quickly cover them here. Bungie released a lot of devs on the D2 and Marathon teams. Destiny 2 sentiment in the community has been down, and their projections for revenue earned from Destiny 2 this year has been down by 45%. A lot of bad stuff happening with Destiny 2 and Bungie as a whole from last week. One thing that they did release that was kind of good news was the Path Forward article, which was, to be fair, just a nothing sandwich of will do better, and then that they're working hard on the final shape, and that they want it to be as big as an expansion as Forsaken, Witch Queen, and the Taken King were, which is a crazy statement considering that the Forsaken was easily the biggest expansion in Destiny 2 history. Same thing with Taken King in terms of D1 history. And then you've got the Witch Queen obviously being the most recent expansion, which was actually really, really good. In today's video though, we're just going to be covering my thoughts and hopes for what information we could potentially learn in the coming weeks. We could potentially learn something as early as today, maybe. But we're just going to jump straight into it though. Before we do, as always, if you're going to enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, as it's free to do and it really does help me out here a lot. Also, a lot of you who watch my content aren't actually subscribed, so if you go on to enjoy, please do hit that subscribe button. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subs, which would be awesome if we could hit that before the end of the year. But as always, any support you guys show me is, of course, greatly appreciated. And with all out of the way, let's just jump straight into today's video. First up, they say that we're going to be hearing more about Season 23, which is the final season in Destiny 2 history, as they'll be going from a seasonal structure to an episodic structure, starting with Episode 1, which will launch a little bit after the final shape. I would say that we need to learn a heck of a lot more than we normally do about seasons before they initially release. Normally, Bungie does this thing where instead of teasing little bits about a season, as we get closer to release, they normally save all the major information about the season until the very last week, potentially even the last day. This time around, I really hope that we just see more about the season. I want to know what the season's called, what it's about, what the new dungeon is, what the storyline of the whole season is going to be mainly about. Obviously not spoiling anything, of course, but because this is the last ever season and it's the last major content drop before the major expansion, the last major expansion of this first Destiny saga, this season has to come in with some heat. It has to be really, really good. Last season of Witch was really, really good in terms of story. Content-wise, it was a bit meh, but hopefully this season, Season 23, can be an absolute banger and could hopefully bolster up community sentiment at least a little bit. Also, there have been news articles talking about a final shape delay. Apparently it has been delayed until June. We still haven't heard anything about this from Bungie themselves, but there has also been talk about some smaller bit of content coming in between the launch of Season 23 and the final shape expansion. There has been stuff said that it's not going to be on the same scale as a 30th anniversary pack, because they had like 8 months to make that. This time they only have about like 3 or 4 months to make something. So it's probably going to be a bit smaller, but at least it'll be something. If we can learn what that content drop is going to be, that would also be great. Finally, bigger, bolder, brighter vision for the final shape is a quote that they used in their Our Path Forward article. That is a huge statement. They also went to compare that they want to make final shape as big as the 3 biggest expansions in Destiny's history, being Forsaken, Witch Queen, and the Taken King. If you didn't play Destiny 1, the Taken King was like the Forsaken of Destiny 1, pretty much saved the game as it was in a dry state. Taken King was a great expansion for D1 with what it did for the game. In terms of comparing it to Forsaken though, Forsaken is easily by far better than what Taken King was for D1. Forsaken easily the best expansion in Destiny 2, and if they want to make the final shape as big as those 2 expansions, I'm down for it. Do I think they could do it? Yes, but man, they got to put a lot of work in. With Forsaken, they had at least like 2 other studios helping them make it. This time they have 1 studio and a heck of a lot less people. They just fire a load of people. So they're going to have to put a lot of work in, but I hope that they are able to do it. Show us more information about what the final shape actually is, what changes you're making with that release, and start also bridging that trust bridge again would also be great. Final note, talk about the future of Destiny 2. Recently there was BlizzCon event which happened, and I'm not a WoW player, but this guy came out on stage and talked about the next 3 major expansions for WoW, and it got me, who doesn't even play the game, quite excited about it. So yeah, if you could do something like that, you did it before with Beyond Light. You teased Beyond Light, the next expansion, then you also just dropped Witch Queen name and also the Lightfall expansion. So if you could do something like that just to paint a picture of what the future could be, that would be awesome. I'm expecting to get all this information in the next week. No, this will obviously be spread out within the next couple of weeks and months. But yeah, it's just something to think about, and hopefully we will learn more in the coming weeks. As always, those are just my thoughts though on what I would like to hear and see in the coming weeks in terms of Destiny news. As always, leave yours in the comment section down below. What do you want to see from the dev team and from Bungie themselves? That's all I got for you guys today though, so if you've enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next one.